Apologies for that loud sound. I'm trying to put a microphone on me. Ugh. Get my chair out of the way. Ugh. Right, can people hear me? Oh, you can. Excellent. You commented as before I even started talking. At least we can hear you, so that's working. Yes. I was just setting everything up, getting ready to press the go button when I noticed I was getting wet. So I always have a small, it's actually the lid of a cotton bud box. I always have this on my desk, and I use it for either cleaning a brush, usually not cleaning a brush, but use it for decals, or if I know I'm going to change it, I'll clean a brush or something. And I noticed that it was on its side, and it had poured water, and it was just running all over here, just dripping on me. So I pressed the go live button, and then suddenly realised my knees are wet. Well, this isn't supposed to happen. So I took the microphone off, and I quickly ran off to go and get some kitchen roll and clean it up. What a start to the stream. Excellent. Anyway, hello. Today we are finishing off the Gazelle. After the last stream, I put it in its box, which was what, last week? It was Tuesday, wasn't it? Blimey, a whole week has whizzed by completely unnoticed. After the last stream, I put it in the box. I haven't opened it since. I'm going to keep on poking it. Clearly, that's a safe thing to do with a scale model. And we're going to keep going until it is done. I'd say until it's sitting on its legs, but it's not going to sit on its legs because it's tail heavy, so it's going to sit on its arse. But I'm going to make it until it sits on its arse either way. So let's see what progress we had. I remember the fuselage was done, wasn't it? Oh, yep. You might be wondering where the fuselage is. It's hiding in the bottom of the box. Da, da, da. Oh yes, also hello. Yeah. Don't need to start with a hello. It's fine. It's fine. Oh yes, miscellaneous RAF roundels. Need to work out so many things. Need to work out if we're going to put decals on it, roundels, or if we're going to stick to just. Oh, I've just messed those up. Or if we're going to stick to just the one supplied in the kit. Don't really know. Haven't really decided. Let's chuck them in there. Let's chuck that in there. And that in there. Sorted. Oh yeah, there's no flying arrows on these things, are there? That is an inconvenience. Let's put the box. Where am I going to put the box? There, maybe? No, that's just going to fall off. Oh dear. The room is particularly cluttered at the moment, partly because of these two 1/32 scale tiger moths, which they're just too big. I love them, but they're just too big. I just need to not have 32nd scale kits in my way. Yeah, I could finish them, but then where am I going to put them when I finish them? No idea. Oh, and also, you can't see this, but I've got a production board above my desk, which keeps me updated on where I am with the videos that I've got in progress. And this morning I did a voiceover, so that is one video virtually done. Yes, right. Brain in gear. Let's do some scale modelling. Oh yeah, I chopped these in half, didn't I? Ah, such a good idea. So I can paint with that as a base, and I've got the instructions here. Thank you, past me. That makes actually a lot of sense. Did I glue the rotors together? Yes, I did. There's the rotors. So we have... yeah, good. Right. We've done steps. This is the review, mostly for myself. So I streamed on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, Ms. Modeler came round, so I didn't really do any... I didn't focus any brain on any modelling. And then Thursday we had my event at the Beer Hatch in Norwich. And then Friday I was in London. Saturday I was in London. Sunday I came back from London. Yesterday I was out. So this is the first time I've really sat down at my desk since I worked on this. So no real idea as to what was going on. I do note that, and I did suspect this would happen, but it's kind of the risk we take. The clear pieces have frosted a little bit due to the poly cement that I used. I'm doing this as a starter set build, so there wasn't really an option that I could get away with using a different poly cement without compromising that. Let's turn that light on as well. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I've got two Gazelles anyway. This is the I don't want to call it disposable. No model is really disposable, but it's the bonus Gazelle. You get a bonus Gazelle. Oh yeah, so we've done steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've just got steps 5, which is assembling all of the odds and sods, and 6, which is the last of the odds and sods, and then painting. So it shouldn't take too long. I'm saying that now. If we're still here at 7 PM, I'll probably be weeping in the corner because something clearly did go wrong, and it did take a long time. Logically then, for painting, we need... I say need. It's a fictitious scheme. I can do what the bloody hell I want. Do I want to stick the legs on first and then paint. Probably not. Probably might. I think. Yeah, it's probably just paint it blue. Can hold it by this because that's going to be 53. So if we stick the stabilizers on the back, is there anything else to go on? Oh yeah, the little proby bits, whatever they are, the fins. I don't know. It's a gazelle. I don't know the anatomy of a gazelle. It's the two fins that go there. What I'll do then, to start things off, I've permitted myself the use of a knife at least. I'll tidy up this mess of a seam line by just scraping away the worst of it. Yes, this will get rid of some of the rivets, but also I don't care. Yes, there we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'll also mention it now. My next and last planned stream is Thursday. I can't think of anything I've got in the diary for Thursday. That's why I've chosen that date. I don't want to stream on Friday because a lot of people stream on Friday. And even though I'm trying to do it in the daytime rather than the evening, which will be quieter, I feel like some people will get fatigued if they see me streaming Friday afternoon and then other people start streaming Friday evening. That's not okay. So I plan to make the Hawk, the little Airfix Hawk, not as a starter set build, which could be interesting. It means I might have to. I don't have a mute button for my mic, and when the compressor comes on, it will make noise. I might have to do a quick test of it at some point. It shouldn't take long. It's not the starter set one, but it is at least a simple kit. A lot simpler than this. Right, there we go. Horrible tatty seams sorted. My phone is going mad. Is it anything that I need? Okay. It was nothing that important. Apologies. I'm back. Anyway, right. Yes, gluing. I need to do some gluing. We need not clear parts. In fact, we don't need any more clear parts, do we? No. They can go in the bin. Let's chuck them over there. They're out the way. Done. When I set this little modelling space up, I taught myself that it would be fine because I would always have a clear desk policy. YouTube would mean I have to keep it clear and tidy. And what actually happens is only the cutting mat is clear and tidy. Everything else has just become as much of a mess as it was always going to be. So I just throw things off to one side where they will probably live forever. Who knows? Rotors. What colour does it? Oh, it says painting black with no colour tips. That's really annoying. That's lazy, that is. Should be green. Right. Where are you? You're here. These two are just the skids. That's fine. So, you know what? I will glue the skids on as well. Let's glue everything together. Let's do this properly. Good evening. Is it evening? Oh, Are we doing this thing where we're in different time zones? You said evening. I thought, I haven't been rambling for this long, have I? Anyway, hello. How are you? How is your Tuesday going? What have I done? What have I done? Part 32. 32. This one here. 34. So 32 is starboard. I don't know why I said it so thingied, so accentuated. 34 is port. 31 is starboard, again accentuated, and 33 is port. So 31 is this one. That goes there. Good day from Newcastle, Australia. Ooh, broadcasting across the world. How is Australia this time of year? It's probably still hot, isn't it? I've always assumed if I set foot in Australia, I would combust no matter what time of year, because it would be my luck to go there on a hot day. And yet, for some reason, this year in the summer, the UK has been catching fire. What a world. And we've got 37 and 38. 37 goes at the front. 38 goes at the back. 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, it's Wednesday. Ah, well, okay. In the future. Tell me how Wednesday is when you get there. Anything worth looking forward to? The drive shaft is broken. I remember that from last time. Blue sky and 21 degrees. That sounds fine. That sounds good. According to my phone here in Norwich, UK, it is 20 degrees. And according to my window, it is grey skies. We don't get much rain around this part of Britain, but doesn't mean it doesn't get very grey for a lot of it. Nice. Okay. The point of me doing starter sets was because of the event that I had last week with some people in a pub building some scale models, and I gave everyone, actually it wasn't everyone, it was essentially one between two people, sanding sticks. So I'm doing nothing beyond what I expected of my audience. Audience the right word? No, my ticket paying guests. I don't know. It was good either way. All you need to build a model is just what's included here, a sanding stick and some way of cutting the parts off the sprues. That's it. You don't need anything else. Anything else is a bonus. That's an absolute mess. What's going on? Huh. It's like a random part of the fin just it doesn't look like flash. Just looks like dodgy plastic, but I don't remember that on the others. Okay, and that's fine. Let's just tidy it up a little bit. You volunteer at an Air Force museum on Wednesdays. Ooh, ooh, nice. Of those, I like the meteor and the vampire are my jam, because that's my sort of era of jets. You saw my modelers report on my event. Yes. Ooh, again, creaky chair. One day I'll fix it. Not today. She said it went very well. Yes, and I think she was a bit modest as to how as to her input in it, because she helped. I didn't ask her to help in any way, shape, or form, but she was providing lots of support to people, because I underestimated. I mean, bearing in mind it's the first ever time I've hosted any sort of event like this. I'm not a teacher or anything. I did a little speech at the beginning telling people to come to me if they need help, that sort of thing. And I underestimated how complicated decals would be to people that have had, by that point, 2 or 3 pints of alcohol. So whilst I was off helping someone, she went off to go and help someone else, and that happened quite a lot. And as she mentioned in the video, even gave her own decals to someone because they'd messed theirs up. And I say her own. She was not building a kit whilst there, but I did make sure that she had one to go home with. Everyone gets a kit. Yeah, it was a really good event. Wasn't perfect by any means, but people seem to want me to do another one, so I think I will. Speaking of which, hang on. I'm very sorry. I needed to send something and I haven't, and it's now 2:55 here in the UK and I still haven't sent it, so I need to send it now before I forget. Very sorry. I should have done this earlier. Actually, I should have done it yesterday. Shit. And now I've lost it. It's the sudden panic of me going, oh my god, I have to do something. Talk amongst yourselves. Don't mind me. Do 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 do. Cool. Done. Right. Sorted. Anyway, sorry. Very bad. Very, very unprofessional of me. In fact, before this stream, I had to go and return some equipment that I was using for a show. I do, every now and again, I do tech work for some local companies. And sometimes that involves having to borrow equipment, so I borrow them from a good friend of mine. And I was very lazy and hadn't returned them. It's been very hectic. I've been off work. Well, I have no job for 3 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm into my last week of unemployment, and I feel like I've barely had any time off. This is just how I live my life. I always like being busy. Right, hang on. Something doesn't feel right. They're not sitting at the right angle. Can you see that? If I put it on the cutting mat, this one seems to be poking forwards a bit. I don't know why. Okay. Come on. Hang back. Yeah, it's not sitting right. Unless I put them the wrong way around, but can't do. You've been to Norwich with your wife. Her ancestors moved to Sydney from the basement of our castle. Wow. For anyone that doesn't know, Norwich Castle was a prison. It's a very nice castle. If you like Victorian rebuilds of Norman castles. Well, I say rebuild, it's a reskin. They went, oh, this doesn't look very appealing. It looks very old. Let's just replace all of the stonework so that people think it looks like this instead. I like my castles falling down a bit, but it's a lovely thing. Hi there, hello. Is that Miles? Hi, Miles. You think Airfix is kidding itself? Selling its old molds to start? Yeah. To newcomers to the hobby is a good idea. Well, I think, and this is me being as diplomatic as possible, I think the concern for Airfix was fulfilling a contract. Lidl go, can we have some scale models, please? We want to sell them at this price. And Airfix go, okay. That's it. That's pretty much the only thought I think that was needed. For people like me, who actually really wanted a Gazelle, I'm quite happy that they did it. But then what's with that nonsense scheme? Why do it blue? Oh, we don't want to do anything military. All right, Lidl, calm down. Right, that looks better. That looks a bit straighter. Now I just have to not break them. Let's put the last... Oh dear. Last couple of bits on. Oh, that was a right flipping mess, wasn't it? Short-term thinking, yeah, potentially. We don't know because Airfix haven't told us, and they're not likely to ever tell us. We don't know whose decision it was to choose the kits that they chose. Most of what is being said about Airfix in general at the moment is speculation, so we don't know. It could be, if we want to be as fair to Airfix as possible, it could be that Lidl just said we need non-military subjects and we need them yesterday. In which case, that there's no time to tidy up these molds. It's just quick, choose some, who can produce them as cheaply and as quickly as possible. Cool, get them to churn some out and we'll get them on a ship straight away. So it could be that. It could be that Lidl said we want something different. And again, what do Airfix have? Well, they don't have any new starter sets that they can use. They've used them all before. So it's easy to blame Airfix because of other things that are happening at Airfix, but we simply don't know what caused their somewhat questionable choice of kits. I do, however, feel that any brand that wants to be taken in its best light, that wants to have as positive a reputation as possible, would still care about that sort of thing. So whether it was them or Lidl that essentially chose the kits or not, it's still for Airfix to say, no, we really can't be releasing this tat to beginners. Or at least advertise it differently. You know, just don't say it's for beginners. You bought this yesterday from Lidl, well, obviously, in Carrington, Nottingham. Ah, okay. You got 2 sets of the 5 releases. Made this because this village. Yes, like, if you've seen my build video, you'll have already seen these, but the reason why I'm doing the one in this colour is because I've already got 2 above me on my shelf from the, was it 90s? Was it 80s? I don't know. I don't actually know when my specific decals were released, but these are the previous 2 that I've made, which are really nice. They're not perfect, partly because the kit's old, partly because I'm not the best modeler in the world. Had I bought a paint mask, I definitely could have done a better job of all of that glazing. But I'm quite happy with them. They're all right. This is kind of what I wanted out of Gazelles. So having a 3rd blue one is all right. Let me move my tiger moths out of the way. Oh, speaking of tiger moths, my knees. Oh, doing the rigging on one of them earlier. Bloody hell. Because I have to basically just perch the aircraft here, and then I'm on my knees on a cushion below the desk. Who misses trying to carefully position the rigging with tweezers, and now my knees will probably hurt for the rest of my life as a result. Painful. If we want Airfix to continue, why boycott them? Yeah, I'm definitely not going to boycott Airfix as things currently stand. I'm interested in building good quality scale models, ones that I enjoy building. And Airfix at the moment feel that requirement very, very well. Of course, if they stop producing new tools, or they don't make new tools or subjects that I want, then I won't buy them. But that's always been the case. You know, I don't have a 1/48 Jaguar because whilst I love the Jaguar, it's too big in 1/48. I don't have room for it, therefore I didn't buy it. I was probably never going to buy it. It simply doesn't matter. If they did a new tool 1 in 72nd, I'd buy it, and I probably still would now if they announced it. Just got to remember that whilst we know a lot of things are happening at Airfix, none of it is official. Just be careful of what you hear people say, because unless they specifically state their source, it is all speculation. That is all. And then there will be some people that actually, oh shit, I just bent that, that actually do know things that just don't want to say yet, or they can't say. Let me open this up. Well, I bent that, which is awkward. You'd have thought that having made 2 already, I would know what I'm doing with this one. And if you think that, you must be new around here. Does that fit? Kinda, but not. That's unfortunate. So I had this problem with my red one. If you look at it from the top, the skid bends out quite a lot. It's supposed to be straight. But it only happened on the red one. It didn't happen on the camo one. I guess I just got to hold it here now until it sets. That's it. It's just the stream watching me holding a gazelle like a small pigeon or something. Hold it in my hands. It's not a proper hole. That's, I think, one of the problems. If you see on this side, you've got a hole for the rear, but only a dent, an indentation for the first one. So this rear post clicks in, feels really satisfying. You can tell it's definitely in, whereas the front one just doesn't, which is strange. Strange design. Right, there we go. No, it's still bowed. It's still wonky. You know what? I'm gonna just not care. There we go. I ended up buying 5 Airfix kits from Lidl, and 3 of them were Gazelles. And I can't help but feel maybe it would have been a good idea if I bought something else, like the Land Rover or the Aston. I've never made the Aston before. I'm not really into cars. Some of them are quite nice. And I'm not opposed to making a model of a car. I've made one on the channel before. It was a Citroen 2CV as a Christmas build many years ago. But generally speaking, I won't bother buying cars. The Land Rover is a slightly different matter because it's a Land Rover. But I've already built it back in the noughties. You've not long finished the Airfix Victor. Oh. Do you have anywhere to put it? Hang it from the ceiling? No, don't do that. There we go. The Gazelle is done. Obviously, oh, you can't see it. Obviously, it sits on its backside because I've not put weight in this one because weight was not included. Therefore, I didn't use it. And even if you put the rotor blades on, it's still, that'll be the most plastic at the front. It still just sits back, just plops. Never mind. What I tend to do with my kits is have a shuffle every now and again. So I've got 3 reasonably sized shelves and then a shelving unit. And the shelves are where almost all the new kits go. And then every year or so, I tidy up the shelving unit and put a load of them from there in a box. The problem is the box is now full up. So I'm just going to have to just chuck them out. Just chuck them in the bin. And people have suggested before that I sell them or I give them away or something like that. But the ones that I throw out really are just not good enough. I do not feel confident in selling them because even if somebody parts with their money knowing it's a bit bad, I still think I've sold them junk. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell ones that I'm not happy with. So they just go in the bin. Some of the newer ones, however, I might end up selling them if people are interested in buying. especially ones that have appeared on YouTube, because then I can always chuck a sticker in or something. A business card. I do have business cards. I had business cards made for if I ever went to an event and then remembered I'm actually incredibly unsociable and don't want to go to events. So why would I need business cards and stickers? And so last week, actually hosting an event, I went, look, I've got stickers that I made years ago, and finally I can actually give some away. In case you're wondering, they look like that. That's my stickers. Obviously it's pink. And the business cards I have been giving away because I talk to a lot of people in the pub and they're often interested. And so I just whack out a business card. Look at that. QR code on the back, goes to a link tree. All the socials are on there. And every now and again I have to check, make sure that link tree QR code still works. The main problem is that they are not starter sets. No, they're not, even though they're listed as such. I completely agree with you, with the exception of the Aston Martin, which is the same mould as the Airfix starter sets. The distinction is, however, only an Airfix distinction. For example, you take Revell, and this is exactly the sort of thing that Revell would do. They'll release an old tooling, they'll chuck some miscellaneous paints in it, and they'll call it a starter set. So this is much more in line with the wider hobby. Let's actually rearrange the camera a little bit, than with Airfix. And it's particularly frustrating when Airfix had made that distinction, tailoring a range of starter sets to try and cover as much of the market as they thought they could, with cars, with the lifeboat, which I have got. I still haven't built the bloody thing. I got it when it came out. Still haven't built it. You know, they tailored this range, making it so that they're all easy to build, they're all good quality, and then here we are just a few years later, and it feels like they've just shat on that, really. So previously, there we go, this was considered an Airfix starter set. See, it says starter set on there, and it's not one of the current starter sets, it's the Red Arrow Nat. Sorry, the camera's a bit too zoomed in because there's a Gazelle in the way. But this is what they used to consider a starter set. And this is much more in line with this, except, of course, it's a newer tooling. This is the newer Nat, not the older Nat. I can't remember when I bought this. I don't know. Does it have a flying hour? It does have a flying hour. Oh, maybe I should build that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, though. What do I do with another Nat? Is the Gazelle a tail sitter, or do the rotors balance it up? It is a tail sitter. It is a full-blown, nothing can be done without adding extra weight inside to get it to sit right, tail sitter. So the rotors are on. It's currently sitting on its backside. I know it's top-down camera, so you can't necessarily see it as well, but that's me touching the nose. See? No matter where you put the rotors, because this would be the most plastic, this is the least plastic. No matter how you position it, it is a tail sitter. Unfortunately. I did see a video of this before my video of somebody that had built the Gazelle, and whilst they mentioned that it was a tail sitter, they only showed footage of it sitting normally, which I felt was a bit disingenuous. If you're not paying full attention to it, you would be forgiven for thinking that it was actually sitting properly. They'd obviously... Oh, goodbye. Sorry, I should have paid attention to the chat. I was standing up. Thank you for the subscription. Goodbye. Have a nice day tomorrow playing with some real planes. I felt it was disingenuous for someone to post a video showing it sitting correctly when you have to do something to it. They'd obviously hidden something like blue tack on the skid to hold it down. Whereas mine sits on its nose because I've put a load of weight in it. And I talked about that in the video, and I show it in the video. I kind of feel like it's better to do that. But hey, we're all different people. As long as the viewers feel fine. I've got this It's that way around. Oh, you bastard. Sorry, paintbrush. I've got the drive shaft to glue on, so I'm going to do that. And then, boop, come on, gently. And then that is every part other than the pin that holds the rotor in place. I'm going to keep the rotors off whilst I paint it. I'm also aware that painting gloss paint on plastic without a matte or other primed surface is bad practice. I'm not trying to suggest that it's good. I'm not trying to suggest that I'm doing the right thing, but I'm only using the paints provided, and I can't be asked to paint the whole thing in black. And that's another thing which I mentioned in my event in Norwich. There were a couple of people that wanted to paint their hawks pink, because I made sure there was a variety of colours. I didn't want just a load of people in a pub all building an identical red arrow. I thought that was not very creative, and I want to promote the idea that scale modelling can be as fun as you want it to be. You don't have to be accurate all the time. It's not about that. And so I said, look, Airfix have supplied a white paint. So if you're going to paint it pink, then just take the extra time, if you can, slap a couple of coats of white on there and then start painting the pink. Otherwise, you'll just be here for the rest of your life trying to get the pink to show through on the red. And it was okay. It didn't quite show through on the camera, but they do definitely look pink. I might try and get a better picture, because it's one of my local drinking establishments. I will be there again fairly soon, I expect. Have I made the old Puma? No, I have not, so I cannot offer a comparison. I generally don't build helicopters. I'm not opposed to it. In fact, I have said this before as well. Since starting the YouTube channel, it's inspired me to buy and build things that I just otherwise would never have bothered building. And that includes vintage kits. Okay, realistically, I'd have bought the Gazelle anyway. It includes brands that I wouldn't normally have looked at. And it's either because you guys, my viewers, will recommend something or will say something in chat, or it's because other creators will say something, and it helps me. It's really helped me expand my horizons. And the fact that I now have even one type of helicopter is quite impressive. You watched my pink Spitfire build, enjoyed it so much you went and bought one. Oh, I'm so sorry. And you're going to drill out the camera. Yes, the right thing to have done would have been to have drilled out the camera. Yeah. I realised, I think it was in the unboxing, that it was just a decal. So it's not like I didn't have warning to do it. But my ethos, I've lost one of the probes at the front. Oh, shit. What have I done with it? No. Have I stuck it onto my arm? No. Right, we're going to have just one pointy thing at the front, because the other one is gone. Possibly on the floor, but if it's on the floor, it's as good as dead. No man gets left behind doesn't apply to small parts that get fed to the carpet monster. Whoops. Damn it. Anyway, yeah, I said before, my ethos is often, that's a long word for me as well. When I enjoy a kit, when it's good, it inspires me to go that little bit above and beyond. I experiment, because I'm not really one for weathering, because, well, I'm just not one for weathering. Not beyond the basics. So when I add things like smoke streaks, panel liners, whatever, it's because the kit is good and I want to see it better. The problem that I had with the KP Spitfire is that whilst it was perfectly fine, I was just happy to get the thing done. So I didn't bother. Oh, there goes my airbrush. I didn't bother drilling the hole out, and I didn't bother putting too much effort in because, quite frankly, I don't think it was worth it. However, if you want to spend the time drilling the hole out, absolutely you should. And I reckon it will look vastly improved by doing so. And then you can add something like Clearfix in as the replacement for the camera lens. I am now climbing on the floor, by the way. I've got a wireless mic, so you'll still hear me, but I won't be able to read chat for a moment. And do you fancy the new JU52? Yes. Yeah, so do I. I've always liked the JU52. I remember, because I grew up in South London, and Lufthansa owned, I don't know if they still do, but they owned an airworthy JU52, and it would fly over, I don't want to say regularly, but it more than once. And it's not like it did it every day or anything, but it would come over maybe once every other year or so, and would often land somewhere like Heathrow. And I was under the flight path for Heathrow. I know I was in South London, but it's a big flight path, and so every now and again your day would be interrupted by the sound of just a rattly tin can floating overhead with 3 engines instead of all the airliners. So as a kid, I knew what it was. It was impressive. I saw it once at, I think it was Biggin Hill. I think it was there. I definitely saw it on the ground once as well. But I never built one as a kid. And it's going to sound like a really silly reason given the tools that are available. But I didn't have any confidence in putting decals over a corrugated bodywork, corrugated pattern. To me, that seemed like disaster waiting to happen. So I didn't buy one. So now that I'm actually a relatively competent modeler, I reckon I would be all right. I can't find it on the floor, so it's gone. We've got one probe only. Whoops. If I find it, I will glue it on, but I don't expect to find it. I'm going to move this out of the way and let it dry because I don't want to paint it just yet. Don't worry, I will still be streaming until the helicopter is done, but this is going to be a convenient time for a break so I can talk about spoilers and other things and pay attention. Messages, right. Here's the AZ version. Yeah, well, it's exactly the same kit, isn't it? You're going to use the UV resin for the camera. Yes, good idea, actually. Yes. I've never bothered with UV resin. I really should one day. Yeah, I think that will massively improve the kit. I'm trying to find mine. Oh, there it is. It was right in front of me the whole time. Huh. But in case anyone hasn't seen it, pink Spitfire. This camera light makes it look incredibly white. It's not actually that white. It is definitely pink. It's all right. I think with a Spitfire, as I'm pretty sure I said in the video, so many people make them that there's not really any logical reason why you would ever make the AZ one. You know, I'd much rather build the. I'm looking around. There it is, the Edward 172nd Spitfire, which is very hairy because it's been sitting on my desk for a while. But I'd rather build this kit because it's just fantastic. You know. Still, at some point when Airfix moved to a management that knows its shit, maybe they could release a Huey. Yeah. Carpet beating helicopter from Vietnam. Yeah. The Huey would be fantastic. I mean, obviously, I know people do it anyway, but Airfix doing a Huey, I think, would make sense. They can't. Well, I suppose they can build everything, but it will take them a very long time to build everything, and I'm confident that the most recent iteration of Airfix would have attempted to build one of everything if they could. As for this current iteration that we seem to be moving into, not so convinced. Right, so spoiler territory. I've done very little work. As I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I've been mostly away since, either away or busy since my last stream on Tuesday, so I've not really had time at the desk. I did, however, have time at the desk this morning, so I have started work on a DH-88 Comet, and there's now an incredibly loud military jet flying over the house. If you hear that, I apologise. This is the Clear Prop DH88, which will serve as a direct comparison with the Airfix trash. Earlier I was fitting photo etch into the cockpit area. You can see the wheel, and I'm guessing they're throttles, maybe? On the left hand side, you'd usually have throttles there. Absolutely tiny bits of photo etch, so small that I didn't even mind if they did end up falling on the floor, because you wouldn't even see them in the model. Rudder pedals are photo etch as well. This is by no means done. I've just glued some bits together, painted it a tan colour, slapped some black on it. There's still lots of other colours needed. You're home and caught Captain Livestream. Woo! Hello, Jim. Nice of you to drop in. You've not just caught it either. You're here with loads of time to spare. Loads. I've only been streaming 45 minutes or so. So yeah, this is the Comet. This will look fantastic. Sometimes you can just tell, just from your first experience with a kit, and I can tell you that this Comet will be good. Right. It's also nice to know what a Comet interior in 70-second scale would roughly look like. I do think, however, that the sheer amount of photo etch is completely unnecessary given how small the actual opening is. See hardly any of it. Madness. But I'm still putting all the photo etch on, doing the job properly, and there's the instrument panels. So there's a decal, you've got a plastic bit, you've got the decal, and then you've got the photo etch bit over the top of it. So a 3-piece instrument panel, and then you've got the second instrument panel at the back, which is very basic. The brand is... oh, it's down the bottom. Let me move the camera. There. Clear prop, exclamation mark. And that is what a Comet should look like in 1/72 scale. So yeah, so far, very impressed. That is my main focus once the Tiger Moths are done, but I started it because the last hurdle of the Tiger Moth is rigging, and I have to be in the right headspace for rigging, because rigging is an absolute pain in the arse, and I'm not going to just omit it because it's 30-second scale. So my rigging progress, you can see I've done that side in between. I have to put my hand behind so it gets a light background, in between the struts, and on that side. So I've still got the so big and cumbersome. I've still got to do some rigging between these struts here, and then the control cables that run all the way along. And that's only one of the Tiger Moths. I've got 2 of them, and I haven't started rigging on the other one yet. And it feels very, very fragile. We've done the KP one. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about the KP one. I mean, it's better than Airfix, right? But it's KP. I mean, the clear prop one is a bit expensive, but it is a pretty obscure aircraft. I know it's quite famous, but there are only 5 built, so that makes it obscure to me. So spending nearly 30 odd quid on a 1/72 Comet Racer seems a little bit steep, but it definitely looks good. Definitely. Right. I think we are probably ready to paint this, I guess, if I have to. Right. Oh, my chair is an old office chair, and it's supposed to have wheels, and 2 of them have fallen off, which means it sits at a weird angle and doesn't roll anywhere. So half of my life now is spent wrestling with a chair. Could I buy a new one? Yes. Am I going to? Probably not. So we're getting out the blue. This is 14 French blue. Paintbrush. That's the paintbrush that came in the box, I think. Humble number 2. I need a stick. Where is my stirring stick? There is a stirring stick. will do. Ooh. The video that I was doing the voiceover for, that I was finishing, so the video is now done, it just needs to be uploaded onto YouTube, was the Airfix comic, which is the one that I streamed a couple of weeks ago now, which is here. And it will definitely be interesting to see this sitting next to the clear prop one. We can see what nearly 7 decades of extra experience in scale modelling can do to a company, to a model, to a thing. Oh, I don't know. I can't word. Pretend I said something profound and then respond to that. Is it based on an actual scheme? What, the blue helicopter? No. Okay, the actual thickness of the paint feels fine. I think this will go on okay. It's just painting gloss straight onto plastic is not ideal. But it should be right. Let's grab a quick drink. There have been display team gazelles painted in a blue colour. But it is not this blue colour. And it is not this registration. They just happen to be blue. A bit more paint than that. There we go. I'm starting at the front so that I can paint the framework around the clear parts while still being able to hold the bare plastic at the back. I tend to do vertical lines and horizontal lines in batches. So I'm going to start vertically, I think. Like that. Then, oh, these are slightly slanty, they're not vertical lines. Like that. Nice. This actually requires both of my brain cells. I have been thinking for my next starter set night, if I do another, which I probably will, of the kit being a tank rather than a plane. So I didn't want people to just bring their own model. That's kind of not the point. I want people to, be starters, be beginners. This is a new hobby for people. And if you're bringing your own kit, then how do you know it's any good? You could turn up and me go, yeah, you brought a Mr. Craft kit to a beginner night. You're an idiot. I'd rather provide the kit. But then some people may not want to build a Red Arrow. Some people may not want to build a tank, things like that. So maybe the longer we run this, the more choice I'll give people. But it brings the idea of a tank, brings the idea of the ability to do a different brand. So does anyone know any good Revell tank-based starter sets? for example. There we go. That's freehand painting a canopy. That's all right. With a number 2 brush, which is about 4 times the size of the brush I would normally use for painting a canopy. Nice. I like that. And we need the top, and then go to the other side. Yeah, the paint's not sticking properly because it's on a very smooth surface. That's fine. We'll give it another coat. But that's not ideal. Also, note how Airfix chose... Sorry, military jet flying overhead again. Note how Airfix chose to mould the Comet Racer in red plastic. The Red Arrows Hawk, which is not the starter set, in red plastic. But they didn't choose to produce the Gazelle in blue plastic, even though they've given you a blue skin. Wonder why that is. They just went for standard grey. Oh, bloody probe at the front's falling off again. Oh, well, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? This is why we can't have nice things. Let's do that. Cool. That'll do. The opacity of this blue paint is a lot better than the red that I was using for the Comet. A lot better. Oops. And then I ruined it. Oh, that's fine. Use my finger. Try and blend it in a little bit better. This is unnecessarily complicated glazing for something designed to be sold to beginners. Okay. Is that good enough? This is the bit where the glazing is mostly fogged, so it's not really that important. You see that? That's probably fine. Probably because that's what was in the warehouse. But they haven't released... I don't think they've ever released that Hawk in red plastic before. I have a feeling they specifically produced that for the set. And I don't know about this current batch because I've not spoken to Airfix about it. But I'm pretty sure they said before that for the Christmas sets, the numbers they churn out are significantly higher than they normally would, which would suggest a specific run rather than just taking stuff from the warehouse. But again, just speculation. I don't know. Okay, it's not terrible. I've definitely done better. It's not terrible. And we know that the Gazelle is, obviously it's not been available for a while, but it's in the dark grey plastic. So it must have been produced at least within the last couple of years. Ugh. Right. Flip that around. Or maybe this is just someone at Airfix acknowledging that their red paint is a bit shit. And if you give people grey plastic and ask them to paint their own red on it, it will take them 1,000 coats of paint to get a decent finish. Maybe. Don't know. All speculation. Oh, this is very, very fiddly. Looking okay though. We're getting there. Right. Oh, nice blue. Yeah, it is actually a really nice blue, a French blue. Yeah, and after only one coat, the opacity is pretty good. I mean, I'll give it a second coat. Oh, I've bent it. This is what I was trying to avoid. I will almost certainly give it a second coat. I'll probably leave the glazing though. It is an attractive scheme. With the glazing done, it is now just a case of just slapping blue everywhere else. Oh no, I keep bending that probe at whatever the antenna is at the bottom, so I'm getting rid of that one there. I'll re-glue it later. No point fighting with it. There we go. Nice and blue. When I was first making models, which was when I was a wee lad, the vast majority of the paints were Humbrol enamel. Occasionally there was a Revell paint, but nearly always it was Humbrol. And so having essentially an upbringing on Humbrol numbers, I can still pointlessly remember way too many numbers for Humbrol paints. So 15 is midnight blue, for example. This is 14, which is French blue. And 19 is dark red, and then 20 is an even darker red. Things like that. That's just how I think. That's how my brain works. My brain just translates all colours into to Humbrol enamels. And the acrylics have the same numbers, of course. Captain Cursor, breaking spindly thing. Yeah, well, they shouldn't have spindly things attached to planes, really, should they? I've definitely been better at it recently. Tend not to break as many things, but if I do, it will be at the least convenient time. So things will be just painted, all the decals will be on it, it's basically ready to go on display somewhere. And then I'll pick it up and break a tiny little bit off, and then whenever I try and patch up the paint around it, it will never look the same. You know, that's usually what happens. That's why I leave things off where possible. Right. And this middle bit is going to be gunmetal, but I'm actually going to paint it anyway. It'll just give it a base for the gunmetal when I get there. There you go. That's the front end is now blue. Is it dry enough to hold? Yes. I'll let it dry a little bit further. It means when I come to paint the tail, I can hold it at the front. After this coat, yes, it's going to have another coat, but I'm going to let it dry just for good practice. And so then we go into the next spoiler break. Specifically, a couple of new acquisitions. I say a couple, there's actually multiple new acquisitions, but I'm spoiling the spoiler break. There's a spoiler break. You know what happens when you paint a very thin edge with a paintbrush like this? You just flick paint everywhere. It's fine. I wanted a blue desk anyway, I guess. I had this ridiculous thought when I first started making YouTube videos of changing the colour of my cutting mat regularly. Oh, one day I can do a blue cutting mat because it will suit this kit better. And of course, I haven't bothered doing that because of two things. One, consistency. It makes it a lot easier if it's the same backdrop all the time. And two, I keep flicking bits of paint over the entire desk so frequently that it's a waste of money buying different cutting mats. Ah, dear. I'm guessing that one sprue was particularly greasy because the paint isn't sticking as well to certain parts. Really weird. Really weird. And yeah, some of this is going to be orange, but for now, let's just paint around it in blue. I'll tidy up the orange later. Oh. Blue. Blue helicopter. That means I'm going to have a camo one, a red one, and a blue one. All the gazelles. You're taking to using copper wire for, yes, for nose pitot tubes, definitely. So they bend and you can bend them back. Yeah. Any sort of wire like that is better. Yep, there's definitely benefits to copper. I still try to use guitar string where possible just because I have so much of it. Well, I've not really been doing anything musical lately, but I still have a big pile of guitar strings. I have to change the strings on my guitar because I need the string for a model. Logic. Right. There we go. The whole thing is blue. So I'm going to just place it in the corner somewhere to let it dry. Wash my brush. How are we doing? What time? 1 hour 15. That's not too bad. Smooth the paper out the way as well. So I don't put paint on anything I shouldn't put paint on. Right, spoilers. So, other than videos which I've already worked on, and the moths are the only things I'm actively working on. You missed the rock music at the start and finish off my vids. Well, thank you. There will be some at the end of the stream. There's some at the beginning of this stream and at the end of the stream as well. However, that's a different tangent. I can tell you a story about that music, but that's a different tangent. I was going to, before the stream, but didn't get around to it, film 2 unboxings. I tend to film them in pairs. It's just easier. I'd rather spend an hour doing 2 videos than 2 half an hours doing 2 videos. Whatever, just mentally. So this will be built fairly soon. So obviously got the ICM Tiger Moths, which will need finishing. Then I've got the Clear Prop Comet, which I'm working on. After that will probably be this. I'm hoping to get this done in a day or 2. I've already looked inside the box, and I can confirm it is garbage. PM model. I mean, I already knew it was garbage PM model. This kit was actually bought. Well, it wasn't bought for me. I bought it. I asked my other half to choose a cheap kit in a sale, and I gave her a few options, and this is the one that she wanted me to build. Yeah. This is the closest I think that I've got to the Airfix Comet in terms of part count. Hardly any. It's mad. So I'm going to do an unboxing on that. Yes, I've already looked inside the box, and I'm going to film an unboxing, but whatever. It's not the same. A quick look is not the same. And last week, I went round to a friend's house, partly because they offered me a kit. I said, "Are you going to build it?" Yeah, of course I will. Of course I will. So they have given me a Dornier DO G1. This is a Matchbox kit from the 1970s. Let me try and stand that up a little bit. Yeah, it's a Matchbox from the 1970s. It's moulded in 3 colours. As far as I can tell, all of the parts are in here because we looked around their house just to make sure. So I have opened it, but I've not properly assessed it, but it looked like all of the parts were there. Oh dear. Painting instructions are on the back. No idea which one I would do, but I'm going to do an unboxing of this so that this can then jump ahead in the queue. I always feel like I'm building too much Airfix, partly because I have a lot of Airfix and partly because Airfix tend to get fairly consistent views, but this is something very different for me. But let me just show you the size of it. I tend not to build vintage kits because I'm not a big fan of vintage kits, and then of course I start building things like this. No, since having a YouTube channel, I've realised that I can mentally build vintage kits because I'm inspired to do so by the channel, basically. So here it is. Here it is. Oh, there's a broken bit. Right, so it comes in 3 bright colours. Of the main wings in this, the bottom of the wings in this very bright blue. Yes, it has typical Matchbox style trench-like panel lines. It has 4 crew, and they actually look really good. Really good pilots. I don't know what it was about pilots in the 1970s, but they're way better than some of the ones we have now. There are no propellers here. They are both, to the best of my knowledge, in the box. Yes, there's clear parts, there's decals, whatever. Everything else is in there. I'm not taking that out. But I thought I'd at least show you all. And then we have Made in England written on it. This rather horrible light green. At least I think it's horrible. Put that there. And then the last sprue. So it's a fairly sizable thing. I mean, there's the size of the Gazelle next to it. If you need actual measurements, that's 15 centimeters or 6 inches. And it's about 10 inches long. Yeah, so again, when I was first building models, even though it was in the 90s and noughties, there was still a lot of Matchbox kits available, usually in Revell boxes, but not always. And the most positive experiences I had were with kits like this. So that is ready to go. I will do a formal unboxing where I'll actually double check that it's got all the parts there. And I'll do the saber as well. The next spoiler, I bought 2 kits in Hannants. When Modeler was down, we popped to Hannants because, well, when you live within an hour of a huge kit warehouse, you've got to go and take your guests to huge kit warehouses, right? So I bought 2 kits. One of them is a bit of a large box. I'm just getting the other one, just leaving that there whilst I rummage. There we go. This is, of course, a Messerschmitt 109. Specifically, it is. Oh, it doesn't even show. It's going to be up. It's going to be sideways. Just read sideways. It's a 109 F2, 1/48 scale. Fairly sizable, especially for me. But there we go. Absolute beauty. It looks incredible. Again, I've just opened the box and had a look, like I've done now. Just poured my way through. I have not actually done a proper video of this or anything. This is bought because somebody suggested a group build from scale modelers. So this is all YouTubers, and this was one of the kits that they suggested people should make. I don't think it's due till the end of the year, so I probably won't do anything with it for quite a while, but I at least bought it whilst I could. That, by the way, was only 17 quid as well. For a 1/48 scale Messerschmitt 109, 17 quid. Happy with that. And the other thing that I bought, no laughing, is another KP kit, but this time it's in a bag. It's a Bulldog in a bag. Look at that. I didn't even know they did bagged kits. I just saw it and went, it's a Bulldog in a bag. Why am I not going to buy a Bulldog in a bag? The instructions are just printed on the cardboard. How old school is that? Considering this is a brand new release of a, I want to say 2024 tool, if I remember rightly. So I bought that. That was 8 quid. £8 something. And if you scroll back on my channel, if you've been here a long time and you know all of the videos that I've done, well done, you're better than me. But if you scroll back through my channel, you will see that I have actually already built one, which is here. And yes, it does sit on its nose. That's it, on its nose. Tail. Nose. And I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest. It's all right. But I wasn't the biggest fan. Certainly not enough to go and buy another one. And then I saw it in a bag. And I thought, you know what? Why not? And it's always good to have a second attempt. Now, I don't know if I'm going to film it because there's limited content available by basically just remaking an earlier video. You know, if I do a full build of the Bulldog, it will just be copying a video I released a couple of years ago. So I don't really know if it's worth it. But at the same time, a video that was on YouTube or has been on YouTube for about 2 or 3 years is not likely to just suddenly get 2,000 views out of nowhere. Whereas a new video, just sort of looking at it in a slightly different way, might get some views. So I don't know. I'm in two minds. If you've got any thoughts, then let me know. But I mostly just bought it because I could then make a blue one. A blue and white Bulldog. It's a nice enough aircraft. Why not? So there you go. Spoilers. It's also rattling. Oh, it's got a loose. I don't know what that is. There's a part in there that's loose. Either way. There was another kit that I was planning on building, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know. I've only got a few days left before my new job starts, which is next week. But I've got a few things lined up, so I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have. So I'm trying to sort of spend the next few days smashing through a load of models. At least that's the plan. Oh, and of course, I did show this off last time, but I'm showing it off again now in case there are new people. Let me just catch up on that. You've done the Matchbox DOG1 Lufthansa with the red band, yes. A Dirty Great swastika on the vertical stabilizer. Yeah, it's probably the best looking scheme. I really like the Lufthansa scheme on pretty much on any aircraft. Yeah. So I showed this last stream last week, but I'm going to show it again because I like it. This is my other project on the go. This is a 4D's 3D printed Kerr Stewart locomotive, which I have painted. It comes with two chassis. One is for static use only, and that's what this has currently got, but it also has components for you to make it motorized, which I will be doing. I just have this one placed on it for the time being for whilst I'm painting it. This will be fully lined out. I haven't decided what colors yet, which is why it's sitting around. But this is mostly a test of painting rather than a test of assembly. So there we go. Oh, and of course the other kit that I will be working on at some point. Oh no, I've boxed it in. I can't. It's underneath the excess kits that I bought for my event last week. It's the Booker 131 Youngman in 1/32 scale, because it's part of a trio, part of a 3 set of trainers, and I want to do the Youngman because I really like the Youngman, which has reminded me I've also got the Young Meister in 1/72 scale, the Booker 133, and obviously I want to do the white one. The other schemes are a little bit dull. Absolutely fantastic aircraft. Tiny little German trainer, and that's the sporty version of it, the single seat sports car version. Anyway, will I go to Telford this year? Probably not. I don't know really. I've thought about it. I fully intended to go last year actually, but firstly it's a long way for me because I live in East Anglia. Secondly, it's very expensive, not just the actual cost of going to Telford, but also hotel and things. I can't really do it in a day. I mean, I could do it in a day, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much if I had to get up 4 hours before starting it. So it's partly that, and it's partly because I think I'd just be a bit overwhelmed by a huge venue with lots of noise and lots of models. So I don't know. It has been suggested that I could go meet up with Ms. Modeler and other people and do, and Sully will probably be there and things like that. So I wouldn't rule it out. But also, with my new job, I'll be on shifts rather than standard hours. So it depends on what availability I would need to be for that. And there's no way that I can work it out because I don't even start till next week. Don't even want to think about it. So it's entirely possible that I might go, but I don't want to guarantee anything. I don't want to book anything. Don't really want to think about it. Maybe. And no, Jim, it is not Percy. It is actually a Graham Farish 08 diesel shunter, which is an absolutely beautiful model. Also very tiny, as it would be. It's N gauge. An absolute stunner. It crawls around. It looks the part. And none of that is relevant because I'm going to take it apart and get rid of all the body and repaint everything else. I still have Percy, actually, or the remains of Percy. Let me just get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. Creaky chair. I still got Percy here. Percy just kind of sits abandoned in a wagon, looking forlorn. Might repaint him one day, like a BR Black Percy or something. You were driving up from Kent on the day and staying one night. Yeah. See, it's definitely doable. I'm not saying that it isn't, but I think I would enjoy it less if I do that. We'll see. What might happen is I could stay with a friend or something, and then that would make it more viable. Right, let's put the paper that way this time. It's also a really awkward time of year because I'm at a wedding. Is it a couple of weeks afterwards, a week afterwards, or something like that? So any holiday that I'm going to take around that time of year will be for that instead. But maybe if I do, I will advertise it. I will tell people that I'll be there. So if anyone wants a sticker, they can have a sticker. I can occasionally be sociable. I try not to be, but I can be. At least in Kent, you have motorways. We don't have motorways around here. The closest motorway goes through Cambridgeshire. I also have, but no, people can't have this. I made myself a pen with my logo on it for no real reason. Like, would you like a pen with your order? Yeah, fuck it, let's have a pen. Coat number 2, and I'm convinced this will be the only other coat needed. Just looking at the brief bit the small bit I've painted now, and it's good. It's the right thickness. What time is it? 4 o'clock. I don't have a deadline today. I am building this. I'm streaming until I've built this. Obviously, if the internet breaks or the house catches fire or anything like that, any emergency, then I will stop streaming. But otherwise, I'm streaming to the end of it. But I'm still keeping an eye on the time because I'm also in charge of cooking dinner tonight. And whilst it's not going to stop me, whilst I don't expect this to take too long. Oh, why have I done that? I've accidentally put a bit of paint right there. It's fine, I can get rid of it. I'll scratch it off shortly. Yeah. Whilst it's not dinner's not going to stop me from finishing this, I will just have to send a message going, by the way, dinner will be late. Please set your stomach's expectations appropriately. Yours sincerely, the chef. Makes it sound like I'm cooking for a party. I'm not. It's just me and the other half, but still. It's the day after your 60th, so you won't be partying hard. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, I was going to mention the, as you put it, rock music at the start of my old videos. That's the first song that I've written and recorded every instrument of. Well, actually, that's not true. It's not every instrument. I didn't record the keyboard solo, which is like a Hammond organ type sound. But back in the COVID times in the lockdowns, even though I still had a job, I was still working full time. I did also stream video games. Some of you may already know this, some of you may not. I do still have a Twitch account, even though I don't use it. But I used to stream video games. And one of the people that I would stream with is an old school friend of mine and a musical friend of mine. And I said, I want to have a song which I can guarantee I will not get copyright struck by, because even if you pay for a service that allows you to use music, sometimes you'll still get a copyright strike. Okay, you're using our music without license. You're like, no, I have a license. So the best way of guaranteeing you're not going to get hit by any sort of claim for music, whether it's legitimate or otherwise, is to just use your own music. Now, since I'm a musician, since my friend is a musician, I said, why don't we meet up? I've got a song idea and we'll produce this song for use in my videos. This was before I ever released a YouTube video. This was really meant as a thing for my Twitch streams. And so I went around his house with my guitar and the bass in question that I wanted to use. I'd already, at this point, owned an electric drum kit, although I wasn't very good at it. So I just wrote a very simple drum beat and recorded the whole thing: guitar, bass, and drums. There's actually 2 guitar tracks in there. The song's called Dirty Sailing. It's like plain sailing, but it's dirty sailing. And we used to be in a band together. And even though he's a keyboard player, I made him play guitar, which amused me. And every now and again the conversation would be, oh, it'd be really good if we had a keyboard solo here. And I was like, no, you'll get fired. No, it doesn't happen. So for my YouTube song, as it has now become, I asked him to, or I allowed him to put a keyboard solo in. It's like, yeah, go for it. I'll play the backing chords and just go nuts, do whatever you want. And that song became the one that I've used on stream starts and ends ever since. And it'll be on the end of this stream. It was on the start of this video. So that is Dirty Sailing. So that you are listening to me playing a Fender. Anyway, other chefs are available. Well, strictly speaking, yeah, but she cooked dinner yesterday and has been at work today, so I should really cook. I have no idea what I'm cooking. I don't worry about that sort of thing. I just sort of chuck some food together and hope for the best. Usually works. Good afternoon. Yes. Good. Is it? Yes. Good afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Take a seat. Well, I suppose you could listen if you're standing up as well, but I don't want to be held responsible for any accidents that may happen by you falling over. Let's move the camera a bit. We are most of the way through the Gazelle. It is blue, as you can see. This is just the second coat of blue, and will probably be the last coat of blue. Then we're going to let it dry again. I might go and have a toilet break. And then, after it has dried, we will be putting the decals on. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to be painting the orange. There are no decals with the orange, right? One kind of. Yeah, we'll be all right. Still need to do the orange. Yeah, so we'll finish the blue, then we'll do the orange. Then we'll do the decals. And I'm streaming until it is done. Hence the talk of dinner, because I also need to cook dinner at some point today. So I wouldn't I mean, it's only 4 o'clock. It's not like I'm going to need to cook dinner soon or anything, but always set expectations appropriately. Right. This is a very blue Gazelle. It is, but that's what Airfix put in the box. I'm just building this as per the supplied materials and a cutting knife, some sprue cutters and a sanding stick. Everything else is as per the box. So if they want a ridiculously blue gazelle, I'm building a ridiculously blue gazelle. Working and listening. Good. As long as you don't work in air traffic control and you need to be listening to pilots, that's fine. Hello, welcome. Grab a seat. Don't actually grab a seat. Well, I think I ruined it by going through all of my spoilers in the last break, because now this needs to sit here and dry for a bit, and I don't know what to show you. What do you want to see? Do people want to see a new purchase? Did you miss the previous spoilers? You want to go over that again? I do have a new purchase, actually, that is not... I need to make sure that my hands are not going to put paint on it, because if they put paint on it, I will be devastated. It's not scale model, as in kit related, but I did splash some dollar on model Choo Choo. Tiny locomotive. And it is tiny, it really is very small. It's amazing that you can moan, or that I will moan that a kit is too expensive. Like 5 centimeters. I'll moan that a kit is too expensive if I have to spend more than about 30 quid on it. That's why I haven't got a JU52 yet. I'm like, oh, more than 40 quid on a kit? That is outrageous. And yet I'll spend 120 quid on 5 centimeters of die cast metal with a motor in it. Ridiculous. It's a beautiful runner. It is very nice. I am enjoying it. I don't have a proper model railway. I just run one on the floor, and I have been decorating it to make it look a little bit better, so it will appear in some photos. Oh! And because I never do anything by halves, I actually bought 2 of them. I've got a green one as well. Why not? Why not have model railways? Oops. 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 It's fine. It's fine. Ow, that's my head. It's fine. Oh, I also note... Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I was going to say, I know that there's a gap missing in my stash. I wonder if I'd lost something, but I had not lost something. I'm still a little unsure what kits I plan to build this week. I guess it depends on how quickly I get through the 2 that I've already shown off. There's still the old KP Letov that I started ages ago that I showed off last stream. That looks more or less like that. It's not good. It doesn't fit. The top wing just does not fit. You work hard to get one side lined up, and then the next side just doesn't line up at all. And then you try and get it straight in the center, and then that more or less works, and then neither side fits at all. It's just not a very good kit. So I guess maybe I'll finish it at some stage. But the unboxing is due to be out. You do British 00 and American N. Nice. I also do British 00. In fact, this almost certainly will be a video of in some capacity. I bought myself on eBay an HST. This is just one power car, as you can see. I bought just this power car, and then I've gradually added some coaches, and I've got 2 other power cars for it as well. But I don't want the Great Western Green, hence why it says GWR on that side but not on that side, hence why it's been removed. And the plan is for it to be completely repainted, and I will probably film the repainting element, I expect. If it becomes too difficult, then I won't, but I do intend to. I know what I can do. I can paint the black on the rotors as well, can't I? Because these need to be painted. I do have the occasional bit of American N-gauge rolling stock, but only because they've been sacrificed for 009 projects. I have a significant graveyard of models. I really struggle to throw things out. 85 there is. Don't know why I couldn't find it, but I couldn't find it. I need the paper again. There's the paper. There's the paper. I have made a ridiculous number of kits this year. I think I've made more this year than more so far this year than I made last year in total, I think. I can't remember how many I made last year now. I have a spreadsheet for it because I like spreadsheets, and it tells me all the kits I've got in my stash and all the kits I've built and things like that. However, I consider my channel anniversary to be the start of the year, so that's December. So strictly speaking, it's an extra month. And so far, I have built 28 kits since the beginning of December. Yeah. This will be number 29. And then the Tiger Moths will be 31. They're only a few hours work away. And we're not even at the end of July yet. Madness. I don't actually know where the black is going to go. And how far up does it go? I don't know. Do I still have the cheapest 148 that I could find? Yes. The one with the blue canopy glass from a few years ago. Yes, I do still technically have it. However, it is in a box. It is no longer on display. It lasted just after the channelversary video where I showed everything that I built that year. As soon as that filming was done, it ended up in a box. So I still technically have it, but it will almost certainly end up in the bin. I'm trying to work out whether it's worth scavenging all the weight from the inside of it. Yeah, the PM kit was what, £5, I think. It is quite bad. I don't know why I buy PM models. It's the same as Mr. Craft. I always look at Mr. Craft and go, oh, that will be a fun video, and then I just have a miserable time. I could just, not have a miserable time. That's quite productive. It is productive, almost obsessively so. This has become, well, it's sort of become my main hobby. I've also been studying for an Open University degree. I still have 12 months, not 12 months, I have 1 year of study left to do, which starts in October. So between October and May, I have this weird mentality of I must spend all of my time building models because otherwise I'll run out of videos for YouTube. And then when I'm not studying, and it's also over the winter, when I'm not studying, I'm just building planes. And it works really well together because if it's an audio-based module, if there's a lot of audio material or visual material or something like that, I can leave it on in the corner whilst I work on a plane. So instead of me running out of material, what I actually do is I go, oh no, the fear of running out will make me more productive. Let's go, 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 go. And so I just build and build and build and build, and then end up with this huge backlog of videos, which means I could essentially just not make models for 2 or 3 months. But I like the hobby, so I do make models during that time, and then I just end up with a bigger backlog. You may have noticed I've been releasing 2 videos every week for the last couple of months. This will end. July is the last month I'm doing that, again, because I've got a new job starting, and I'm going to have my new module starting in October as well. That was just to clear the backlog, rather than just keeping videos back going, oh, if ever there's a week where I can't produce a video, I'll have a spare one. All that happened is I ended up with about 3 months worth of videos. This is getting out of hand. I've got files all over my computer. I just need to get rid of them. And it's also really awkward when I'm making a video and I'm narrating it. And as I'm narrating it, I'm thinking, look, I built this 6 months ago. I have no flipping clue what I did here. So what is going on? So I'm trying to get out of that habit. So the video I was doing today was the Comet Racer, which is a kit I finished last week or just over a week ago. So it's still fresh in my mind. The video is done, scheduled, fine. I've just been working really hard and getting that backlog done. But part of that has then also been to finish off other projects, so models which haven't quite been finished yet. I don't know why I'm washing the brush, I still need the black. What an idiot. So anyway, that was a very long, rambling story. But yes, I have been very productive with models. Most of them have been 70-second scale and they've been built within a week. Most of them. The ones that I tend to build are the ones that I can get through fairly quickly, because otherwise I lose interest. That's just the sad truth of it. The 130-second tiger moths have been done now because I knew I had the time to do so and I wouldn't lose interest in them. Anyway, you're currently building your second kit this year. Yeah, well, you should probably speed up a bit. Any tips for building a big stash? What is in for building through a big stash? It's going to sound really stupid, but take it one kit at a time. You can get serious decision fatigue. There are many moments where I look. So I've got 4 places where I keep my kit. So I've got what I call the stash, then I've got the stash overflow, then I've got the wardrobe, which is where my model railway stuff is, but that's become the stash overflow, and then there's a little column next to the wardrobe, which is the stash overflow, but they're mostly just tanks. And in fact, looking at them, there's currently 3 tanks, and a Flyhawk Dauntless. So that doesn't really count. We're fine. And I often look at them and have no idea what to build because of just too much choice, decision fatigue. So to try and get through that, YouTube really does help. I will try and break it down a little bit by brand. I'll look at what I've just built. For example, the Airfix Gazelles. They're old, but they're Airfix. Airfix in my head are the easy ones to build, so the next ones will be a slightly more involved project. And then I'll try and alternate between the two. So when we're ignoring this Gazelle because this is live stream. So when this one's gone, I've still got to finish the KP Letov, but fuck that. I've got the Clear Prop Comet, which is a fairly easy thing to build. It's quite detailed, but it shouldn't put up too much of a fight. If it turns out it's an easy build, I'll then go, right, here's my KP stash. I'll build from KP next. When that frustrates the hell out of me, I'll go to Airfix. And I've still got Edouard and Revell and other brands as well, but I kind of treat that mentality. I'll try and do something quick and easy, a nice mojo build, and then I'll go do something a little bit harder. And that helps just drive me through the stash. If I try to sit there and work out an order, right, I'm going to build a load of American stuff, I'll get really bored of American stuff, and they'll just end up sitting around doing nothing. So I guess working no more than a plane or two ahead is the key takeaway there, and dividing it by brand. The other thing which might happen, saying, I'll get bored of American stuff. If I'm building, I haven't got anything that I can really show. Let's say my 30-second tiger moth, right? I've got one in camouflage colours. If I'm building this plane and I'm looking at the paintwork and going, wow, I forgot how much I like standard RAF camouflage, then I might go and pick up a Bolt and Paul Defiant and paint that next because I've been inspired by that. And then I'll look at that and go, oh, actually, I'm really liking this era of plane. I'll go and build something from another brand, whatever. I've noticed a strut. Oh, it's from the Dornier. There's a random strut on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck is that? But it's unpainted and it's blue, so it'll be the Dornier. Whoops. And what's that? That's a bit of my airbrush. That's fallen off. Awkward. Right. Sorry. Catching up with comments. Do you remember the very first model that I built? Sort of. I'm trying to find it. Normally I stand on a chair, but if I stand on the chair, I'll probably fall off and break my leg because I'm a bit knackered today. I've had a very work-centric weekend. No, I think I put it in a box. There are 3 to choose from. So I built models with my dad at first when I was about 5 or 6 years old. So the first ones that I built, I just kind of helped him with. And one of them I still have. He did most of the work. So this is not really my first kit. It is the prototype Spitfire K5054. It's based on an Airfix kit, but with some sort of modification kit. But I do remember assisting in the assembly of this. The other one was an old Airfix Spitfire Mark 1. That's the one I was trying to find. I've definitely still got that. The other was a Mustang. I can't remember. There was, for a long time I could. There was the kit that the first kit that I ever did 100% of, and I can't actually remember what it is now. I knew it for years. I can't find it. But I mean, this is like 30 years ago. I'm 35 years old now, and I started building models when I was about 5. So after 30 years, it's a bit hard to remember exactly what I did. Oh no, I do remember what it is. It was the Yellow Jacks Nat. Oh, that's gone in the bin. Yeah, that went in the bin ages ago. Yeah, the first kit I ever did 100% of was a Yellow Jacks Nat, but it was the old Airfix tool, not the newer one. It was terrible. It's a horrible kit. Have many display cases. You're encouraged to build Mr. Craft because of my videos? I am so sorry. The Gloucester Javelin is fairly decent except for the decals. The decals are horrible. Yeah, that they just disintegrate. I currently have just one Mr. Craft kit in my stash. There was an unboxing of this released a long time ago, and I just did it because it was Halloween. I didn't actually have any intention of building the kit anytime soon. I will one day, but it is HMS Eskimo. Mr. Craft Tribal Class Destroyer. Oops, knocking things. There it is. I am not a fan of Mr. Craft. We'll put it that way. Are those humble paints as bad as people say they are? Oh, these ones, they're fine. I wouldn't go out of my way to use them, hence why I've got a big box of them. They are usable as long as they are still liquid. They are usable. I wouldn't put them over any other thing. Oh, in terms of starter set paints, actually, they are one of the best. There's some Hella ones. I've obviously chucked them out or chucked them in a box somewhere. The Hella ones are a lot thicker and gloopier and just generally harder to work with. These ones are fine. You know, they're all right. Some of the colours, like the yellows and the reds, have rather poor opacity, but you get that with most brands anyway. So yeah, they're all right. I don't have a massive issue with them. Don't know about the acrylics, but the old enamels were decent. Yes. Until about 2020, I was using enamels. I always had done. It's really difficult to go from having an entire collection of one type of paint, be it one brand or one style, in this case enamel, to a completely different one. You know, the money involved in replacing all of the enamel paints would have crippled me. I would have left the hobby rather than do that. I now use exclusively acrylics, and it's because I bought Hataka paint sets. Again, they're for brush painting, because back in 2020 I still brush painted. And I bought something like an RAF set, knowing that I was going to make a series of RAF kits. And then the next set I bought would be American, knowing that I would make an American set. And then I made sure that I had things like Vallejo blacks and base colours like that ready. And then I gradually built up a collection there. And I barely use Hataka these days. I now mostly use Vallejo just for accessibility issues. But the enamels were fine. Yeah, it's just the drying time. The drying time was horrible. If anything, the opacity of a yellow, an enamel yellow, much better than an acrylic one. They're just awkward to use, really. Awkward to use and much dirtier. You know, much harder to clean a paintbrush when you've been dunking it in enamel paints. There are still a few enamel paints that I have and I use, and they are all model railway related, because it's a bit of a backwards industry and it's really hard to find certain paints in acrylic form, and I don't like mixing paints, so I kept them. Also, if you spend a lot of money on paints, you might as well get the most out of them where possible. I know I'm falling a bit behind with comments. I do apologise, but I do also appreciate people being chatty. Your first model was the Novo P40 Tomahawk. Wow. Is it the old frog kit? I wouldn't be opposed to buying another of my first kit. Well, I sort of have, actually. It's the that fluorescent pink Spitfire I did for my 100th video special. That's the same tool as the first one that I built properly. Hang on, brain. You recommend to give Mr. Craft decals a coat of decal film. I recommend not buying Mr. Craft. You know that I will. At some stage, I will end up buying another Mr. Craft kit. In the same way that I think PM are garbage, I still end up buying PM kits. Oh yes, do you remember the Christmas starter kit series? No Mr. Craft kit arrived. Yep, I was going to reference that. Yes, my idea of doing different brands of starter set for Christmas to see which ones were good and which ones were bad, and I was genuinely looking forward to the Mr. Craft kit because it was, I want to say, an F22 that I ordered. It was a jet anyway, and it was a reasonable price, and it came with paints. And I thought, well, Mr. Craft paints, I wonder if they're any good. They can't be terrible at everything, right? They've probably just reboxed somebody else's paints, and then it never arrived. The retailer, who I can't help but feel has blocked me because I tried to buy something else from them and I just got a message going, "This is not in stock. Here's your refund." Hang on a minute. There's barely enough time to look. No, I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they haven't blocked me. But the retailer just said, "Oh, well, we definitely dispatched it. Are you sure it hasn't arrived?" Well, yes, I'm pretty sure it hasn't arrived. Thank you. Well, let me know if it does later arrive, but you can keep the refund. And here we are, like 2 or 3 years later, and it still hasn't arrived. I was genuinely annoyed because I'd come up with this idea of doing all these starter sets. I'd scheduled when they were going to be. Like I'd written it in my calendar. Right, this week I'm going to be working on this plane. This week I'm going to be working on the car. And I'd really thought about it to get something a little bit different. And if anything, the one I was looking forward to the most was the Mr. Craft one that didn't bloody turn up. Oh, you reawakened my annoyance for that. Honestly, such a pain. Hello, Damien. Mr. Craft, your second favourite kit company? Yes. Well, you missed me showing off a PM kit that I bought. PM models F86E. Utter garbage. Novo reboxed frog kits. Yes, I know that they did. Were all Novo kits frog? I don't know. It's the old frog kit. You're 7. You're 50%. Right. Okay, so that's still considerably younger than the Airfix Comet that you can buy in Lidl in the UK. God, I hate that kit. Unlike my Gazelle video, I didn't go into a rant. Well, not as big a rant anyway. There is still a rant, obviously. There you go. It's got black legs now. You have the F86? I'm so sorry. There you go. Black skids, legs, whatever they are. Whatever they are, they're now black. I can give these another coat. It's more or less dry enough, I think, for decals, but I still need to paint the orange. paint these. Give these another coat. I don't particularly like the Humbrol, or, well, you know what, the starter set satin black. I much prefer the matte black. And you may think, oh, there's hardly any difference. There is hardly a difference, but the slight difference that there is makes a lot of difference to me. The matte black just looks better. The satin black here just looks a little bit glossy, and it never seems to paint as well. I do question my sanity when I decide to do starter set builds like this. Also, Damien, I don't think you were here. I showed an old Matchbox kit that I have acquired, and I will be filming an unboxing of. I don't know if I will do it later today. Depends when I finish building this Gazelle. But if not, I will do an unboxing tomorrow, and it will be published sometime next month. And then I will build it fairly swiftly. I'm not opposed to vintage kits. I just don't like vintage kits pretending to be something else. And I often don't have the motivation to put in as much effort on a vintage kit. Oh, I'm trying to really carefully place these rotor blades so that they don't put paint everywhere, and I am struggling. Right. The blue doesn't look half as terrible on the Gazelle. True? Yeah, I actually quite like it. It's a bit bright in most contexts, but I think this will work quite well. I think that, if anything, the fictitious scheme kind of works in its favour. I don't know, odd. You've given PM models to your friend's son who now hates you. Haha, haha, I've amended your comment. I don't have a big problem with PM other than the Spitfire Mark V float plane. I'm trying to convince myself rather than convince you. I've still got, is it above me? No, I've moved it. I've still got the PMC Fury. That's quite nice. And there's that Fokker that they do. That's quite nice. They're okay, as long as you don't spend more than about £5 on them. So thankfully, I spent like £4 on the F86. They're just okay. You know, they're fine. You had a PM Big 29. Long story short, went in the bin. Yep. Don't blame you. Can't wait, as you know you love Matchbox. Yes, I will. As I need to wait for that to dry a little bit longer, I will get it out again because it's only over here. There we go. I'm not getting it out of the box, so I'll at least show you the box. So at some stage, I will be building this. As far as I can tell, it is the original release of it, I think. Currently, you're building a Matchbox Wellington. Nice. You collect Matchbox. Do you collect Matchbox and then leave them in the box? Am I going to offend you by building this? Because I don't care. I'm still building it. The box is a little dented. You can't really see it as well there, but it is. It's got a bit of a whack to it. My friend asked if I was likely to make it, and I said, yeah, in terms of YouTube, my mentality now is, especially if it's a gift, it jumps the queue and I make it, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad. Try and be a bit more varied with what I build. I can't just be showing the build of Flyhawk Dauntlesses non-stop, can I? Because that's what would inevitably happen. Oh, speaking of it, I don't think I've shown this off on a stream. This was my birthday present last year. Given that my birthday's in September, it shows you how long it takes me to build a kit. This probably won't even be built this year, come to think of it. Like the 132nd Tiger Moths, are one of those kits that I obviously need to have because, as I'm sure you know, I like the Tiger Moths. Let me move the camera a bit further back. Prior to my obsession with Tiger Moths, the vast majority of the kits that I would build were interwar American because they were bright and colourful if they were US Navy. And as such, as a gift, I received a 1/48. There it is, 1/48 scale TBD one Devastator by Hobby Boss, and it says Hobby Boss. Don't be fooled into thinking that this is a simple kit. It really isn't. It's a fully fledged beauty of a kit, padded with loads of foam and everything. This is incredible. I love it. I absolutely love the look of it. And all I've done is just open the box and have a nose. Oh, so if it were down to me, that's the sort of thing that I would just build non-stop because I love them. It's just that and Tiger Moths as far as the eye can see. Oh, the other thing I'm gonna show, because I'm not going to lie, every now and again when there is a trend I can jump on, I will jump on a trend. It would be foolish not to. It helps if it helps the channel grow. You know, why not? Because Dale has moved to Hella, I know that there are going to be some people searching Hella and being a bit more Hella centric. So probably relatively soon, my favourite of Hella kits, the DH89 Dragon Repeat, still sealed, still wrapped. I might do it as a Dominie. I've never actually made a Dominie before. I've made this kit before, just never as one of the schemes included in the kit. Absolutely love the Dragon Repeat. I've managed to completely ruin where it was stored. There we go. Fine. Oh, I got distracted. Are we ready now? Yeah, I think we're probably ready. You do try to build some Matchbox. Yeah, the G1 looks like an original. Is it 70? Hang on. I'm pretty sure. Oops. I'm pretty sure I have no idea how to use the internet. I'm just pressing the wrong buttons all the time. Matchbox. Oh, I can't find it. What's the product code? There it is. Yeah, 1979 new tool, which is what it states on the inside. The plastic matches. The 80s box is, oh no, it is more or less the same. I thought there was a difference in it. I reckon it is the original 70s release, I think. You only build Matchbox if you have at least 2 of them. Oh, don't keep them in boxes though. They're meant to be built. You're not letting them reach their destiny, as Model Minutes would say. You've got a Matchbox Swordfish on the bench. You're making me get up. Well, you're not making me, but every time you say something that I can then go to the shelf and show off. That's what I'm going to do. This is... Oh, I'm watching myself with a delay. This is a Matchbox Swordfish. This was in a Revell box a few years ago. It was long enough ago that I've brush painted it with enamels. But recent enough ago that I think I've actually done quite a good job of it. And I really like this kit. It's obviously not going to be as good as the new Airfix one, but I love the Swordfish. Not rigged because life's too short. Yeah. Oh, very nice. I would happily have another Matchbox Swordfish, but I still have an Airfix one to build, so that's not going to happen. And what I was saying about clearing the stash earlier, I went through a bit of a... Oh, sorry, I nearly fell over. Went through a bit of a phase of Fleet Air Arm aircraft. So I cleared out pretty much every Fleet Air Arm aircraft I had in my stash as a result. You often have 2 to 3 to build every variant the kits provide. Oh, if I had the space, I would, to be honest. I've done that with many kits before. I mean, hence the 2 Gazelles that I've got. It would be foolish of me to do that too much on YouTube, because YouTube relies on consistency. And I'm not trying to say that I want to be a YouTuber. That's not really a desire of mine. I don't intend to ever have this as my main job. This is only ever just something that I do kind of, oh look, it sits upright, to document my progress. But it would be foolish of me to spend 3 times as long building 3 of the same kit for a video when I could just build one and then build something different. And it also means I get to try more kits, building only one of each. But definitely there have been times in the past, and there will be times again, where I just go, nope, I'm having 3 of those, or 2 of those, or whatever. Or tiger moths, yes, I'm having 13 of those. 80 stars matchbox have to red, yellow, and orange stripes on a black background. Oh, yes. Yes, now I know what you mean. Yes, I can picture it. Yeah, in which case it is original 70s, as I thought it was. Yeah. I know the style you mean. Most of the ones I've built have been the 80s. This is probably the first issue matchbox I've ever made. I don't often build matchbox, but I do accept that they are good. Right, how opaque is this orange going to be? Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Oh, should I do this freehand? Easier said than done. I think, strictly speaking, the blades should be black, but I might just paint them orange. It's just going to be easier to paint them orange. It's a fictitious scheme. It doesn't matter, does it? Does not matter. Gonna have to catch up later. Okay, well, thank you for dropping by. I don't think I'll be streaming too much longer because this is nearly done. But yeah, thank you for dropping by. Please do catch up if you wish. This doesn't impact any of my usual videos. There is a video set up to go out tomorrow. There is another one set out to go on Sunday. And then, hang on, what day are we today? 21st. So yeah, there's one tomorrow, one on Sunday, and then one the following Wednesday, the 29th. And then I'll be back to one a week on Sundays for a little while. It might then drop to my once every other week, depending on how I get on at my new job. Yet to build a bad matchbox kit. Never needed filler. No, they are for the time, for the 70s. They were very good. I remember when I was first building kits in the 90s. There were some good Airfix kits. Definitely, I'm not trying to say that they're all bad, but there were some genuinely good Airfix kits, and some that were terrible. Whereas if you could get either a Matchbox kit or a Revell kit, that's a rebox of a Matchbox kit, you're guaranteed to have a good time. That was my earliest memories of scale modelling. So I can see why people like them. Oh dear, keep on dropping things. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I'll just keep doing what I do. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours 19. Okay, that's fine. Well, shit. Whilst this isn't bad for orange, it's still not great. This is not a colour that I particularly like working with. Just kind of flooding the whole area. I'm just shoving loads of orange in and hoping it works, but it doesn't look amazing, does it? Whoops. Oh dear. Let's try another quick coat. It's certainly more entertaining, I'm sure, than watching me try and rig a tiger moth, because let's just say if there were a swear jar in force whilst I was rigging this morning, I would almost certainly have enough money for another ICM triple pack. Quite unpleasant. See, when I was a teenager, I moved out of London and ended up in East Anglia, not Norwich, but relatively nearby. And even to this day, there is still a model shop just up the road from where I grew up. And because a model shop back in the noughties, the 90s and noughties, in this case for me it was the noughties, but a model shop that didn't have an online presence then wasn't massively unheard of. They weren't going to be the most popular model shops, obviously, but they existed. These days, it's almost unheard of for a shop to do well without any sort of online presence. But but somehow it's still open, still to this day, and for whatever reason, they can survive on buying stock and then letting it sit there for a decade, and then eventually somebody buys it. So I remember going in there when I was probably no more than about 15, and there was a 1970s Spitfire Mark V tooling, I think 76 tooling, so the previous one. And it's actually a pretty nice kit, a pretty nice tooling. And I went in there and it was about £4 or something, whatever. Actually, it was almost certainly less than that. I can't remember what the prices were back then. It was £1 less than it should have been. It was £1 under RRP, and that's simply because they had it in stock so long that the recommended retail price had gone up, and the next one they bought was at the higher price. So I went in there and I bought this Spitfire, and that was on a sort of Saturday morning. And I went home and I built it just there and then, and really enjoyed it. And it was one of the kits that helped get me independently into scale modelling rather than just doing it as a thing that I did with my dad. I enjoyed it so much that I went out, I think it was literally as soon as I finished it, and I bought the other one that was in the shop. And it started off this habit of just popping to my local model shop, literally just a few minutes away from my house, with whatever pocket money I had, and just buying like a Series 1 or 2 Airfix kit. Revell was stocked in there as well, a brand like that. So I absolutely understand that sort of mentality. Whatever you can afford, just pop in, buy a thing. Although, rather than just an intent to build, I did actually build. It was always the intention, always has been the intention, and it still is the intention to build every model that I've got. But I'm also aware that that's not likely to happen, going to happen. In case anyone's wondering, I actually counted my stash yesterday. Well, I say I counted, I didn't. I added my new arrivals to my stash and then looked at on my spreadsheet and then just looked at the total figure. I have 80 kits in my stash, 80. Is that a lot? I don't know. I know a lot of people have a lot more. but I also know that my plan has always been to reduce my stash, and I said that when I was on about 65. So clearly, going the wrong way. Should probably not do that. And I forgot how bad these metallic paints are. Don't know if you can see how shitty the coverage is on that. Ugh. Oh, and I've just broken the front again, which I knew I would. 40 odd years later, you have a humongous stash. Yes. A lot of them Matchbox, Airfix, Nova Eastern Express has a go. Yes. I really hate it. I know it really isn't that many, but it's also still growing, which doesn't help. Also, what's worrying is the stash is growing, and yet I'm building more kits this year than I ever have before, and yet it's still gone up. How does that work out? And don't say because you keep buying them, because I don't want to hear it. I guess it doesn't help when I have friends that give me their kits, but also I like that. Okay, this is far from my finest work. I'm not going to be entering this into any competitions or anything, but considering I have just used the supplied everything, that's not too bad. The orange is the weakest. The camera's being a bit forgiving on it. It doesn't look that good. But the blue looks nice. Have I built any Norwegian aircraft? Off the top of my head, no. I don't think so. I have decals for a Norwegian Tiger Moth. And the eventual plan is to build yet another Tiger Moth and do it in Norwegian colours. I don't think so. Airfix released their Gladiator recently in Norwegian colours, and I bought the kit, but I didn't do the Norwegian one. I do, however, have plenty of Finnish aircraft and a few Swedish aircraft, so it would make sense to add something Norwegian to the mix. Try and encompass more of Scandinavia than just Finland and Sweden. There we go. Right, that's the spinny bit done. Spinny bit sorted. That's basically the helicopter done. I will have to get up and get some warm water for the next step. So say 5 o'clock. I reckon we can't be more than, what, 45 odd minutes away from finishing. Ugh. That's my throat a bit blocked. So what we think, how long does it take to do decals? I don't even know. In case anyone didn't hear earlier, I have one more stream planned. I'm not saying ever, I'm not saying that I'm never going to stream again, but I'm only streaming now because I've got the time to do so. As of next week, I won't have the time to do so. So streams may be occasional. I was planning on streaming on Thursday. With YouTube, you don't want to advertise something too early. So, if I schedule a video for Sunday, I don't want to get everyone getting a notification on Tuesday. Oh, this video is going to premiere on Sunday. It doesn't really work. People just forget about it. You kind of want to do it 24 to 48 hours beforehand. So I haven't yet shared that stream. I've already got a thumbnail for it, so it will be there. And that is my plan, to stream once more Thursday. Do we think Thursday 2:30? I reckon Thursday at 2:30. That's usually a good time for me. The kit in question, I've mentioned before, is the little red arrow. This will not be a starter set build because I'm not painting it as a red arrow. I'm not spoiling it any further, but I do have a plan for it. So there will be at least one more stream. I'm now going to go to a quick break because I need a wee and I need to get some warm water so that we can start doing the decals. Please hang tight. This is not the end of the stream. I'm just going to put you on the on the break screen, and I'm going to remember to take my microphone off because if I leave my microphone on, you're going to hear me peeing because it's only next door and it's a wireless mic, and that's awkward. We don't want to do that. So talk amongst yourselves, chill for a little bit. Oh, I'm going to need my water container. Whoops. Right, I'm back. Back. Where did I put the microphone? There it is. Please bear with. There's going to be a slight click. Right. Okay, microphone reattached. Just counted your stash, 121, so probably around 160, 170. Yeah, that's fair. Better not give away how big your stash is. Yeah. Yeah, the classic peeing with a microphone on. It's not that it would really make much difference. Let us know what time on Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 2:30 in the afternoon, I think. Just off the top of my head, trying to work out if I've got any other plans. I might. It might have to be a bit earlier. How long does it take to build a hawk? Do we know? 4 or 5 hours, start to finish, maybe. No, I'm not the chef on Thursday. Yeah, we'll say 2:30. If we agree 2:30, we'll agree 2:30. We'll do that. I'll have it. Basically, you can press buttons, which is when it then says upcoming, and it's when you get notified of it. I'll do that sometime tomorrow after the video. If I do it now, it'll just confuse things. So yeah, we'll probably do 2:30. Have about 30. Oh no, I'm just reading all of those brands. Mr. Craft, Copro, okay. They must have had a thing with Hella. Well, Mr. Craft did end up with a lot of Hella tools. Yes, that is true. KP and AZ not so much. I know there are a few. Obviously, you've got one, but a lot of Hella ended up with Mr. Craft. I'm not sure if it was actually Hella that ended up with them or if they were reverse engineered. Sometimes they're backwards, but sort of via the smear factory all those years ago. Yeah, KP are just odd, just a randomizer, really. That's what it used to be. There must be some stash by now. Yeah. I don't want to end up with a stash that high because I'll just get overwhelmed. It's going to get to a certain point and I just won't be able to function a bit like that. I can't build a model. There's too many. I don't know what to do, and I'll just panic. So here's the. Oh, you can't see it. Why won't it focus? Come on, come on, come on. Let's turn that off. There you go. A very simple decal sheet, just a registration and a couple of odds and sods. That's it. Do you think, asking you, the collective, do you think I should put an RAF roundel on it as well, or should I leave it as is? Because I've got spare RAF roundels if we think that's the best option. Oh, I do also need to paint whatever that is. I'm guessing it's some sort of exhaust. I don't know. I need to paint that as well, and I need to fix the other bits onto it. Mr. Get Fuga Magister, yes, they are the Hello ones. Examples of both, yeah, they are, okay. But I also saw one that was reverse engineered through Smear, so yeah, I know that the F-86 is, because I've been tempted by the F-86. I remember building that one when I was much younger. Where does this go? Where does it go? It's a fictional scheme. I can put it wherever the bloody hell I want it. But that's not the point. Whoop. There we go. Nice, easy, simple. Gafka. Leave it as is. Cool. Yeah, probably about like, oh, flipping heck. Okay, I've found a panel line that will work quite well as a guide. I have my old decal handkerchief. And I'm using the panel line because, as accuracy is not really a concern here, I can just flip it over and then use the same panel line on the other one, on the other side. And it means that they're much easier to get in line, just like that. Sorted. Nice. And then we have 1 and 5. I've cut these into just sort of miscellaneous pairs, really. I don't like dunking an entire sheet. That hurts my head. Where does 1 go? 1 is the first aid thing on the door. Right. And the other is, I'm guessing, the fire extinguisher down there. And yeah, it does look all right. Considering using, considering I've been using bad paints. Well, not, again, to clarify from a little, they're not bad paints. They're just not great paints. They're acceptable. Considering I've been using only the stuff provided in the box, I think it looks all right. That and that. Oops, I've completely ruined the registration. That happens a lot. That's fine. Let's reactivate that and move that back to where it should be. Nice. Much better. Now let's try that again. Yes, yeah, I did. I had noticed, but thank you for pointing it out. It's always nice to have an extra pair of eyes. Oops, and I stuck to those. Let's move that roughly to the center of that panel. Not quite. This has been much more fun than the Comet. This one's now moved its... Oh yeah, I was supposed to scratch off this panel line that shouldn't be there. Let me do that. before I do the next one so I don't forget. Let's put that. Goes roughly there. It wants to sit there. It can sit there. Just trying to scratch it off with my nail. That'll do. Got some tools if I need the tools. This doesn't look amazing. Now the other gazelles definitely look better. Putting in that extra effort, getting it to sit on its undercarriage properly is obviously the better way of building this. But as a build straight out the box with just the basic equipment provided, it's not that bad, you know, not that bad. It would be nicer to have not spent as much time as I did removing flash. And the last stream was, in the end, only 2 hours. I reckon I could have built this in, well, I mean, it's been nearly 3 hours this stream. I reckon I could have done it in 3.5 hours, probably. The thing with streaming as well is that I'm always talking during it. At least this time, I'm not filming it. So I'm recording. I can use the footage of the stream if I want, and obviously it's going to be here on YouTube for all to see, unless I remove it. But usually I'd have my camera sort of just off shot here, and I can set that up and I can film. And when I was building the Comet, I had to remember to quickly press record every now and again because I was using that footage for a video. Whereas this has been much more relaxed, very chill. Oh, I also didn't paint the end of the tail black. Look, I've done a bad job. Whoops. Whoops. Maybe that's something I should do. Build the model properly. Where does 6 go? Oh, it goes in the front. I also suggest that should be black. Don't want to bother with that. Done. I'm keeping that bit blue. And that's it. That's the entire lot of decals. Oh, one's gone. There it is. It fell off. It ran away. And this is an important one because it says danger. Danger, don't stick your head near a big spinny bit. Oh, fuck it. Hang on. I've transferred it between fingers so that I can just press it onto the model. No, it won't come off. Get off my finger. Okay. Oops. No, I was wrong to do that. It should have stayed the other way around. Now it's backwards. There we go. If your text is inverted, and that text is there to warn people against sticking their head next to a spinny bit, I can't help but feel that the text is actually contributing to the problem rather than addressing the problem. That's weird. Look, that text is inverted. Let's go and see what it says. Also, if you work around helicopters and you don't know to avoid the spinny bits, maybe it's time for a career change. Oh, as expected, the tiny decal on the front has seemingly disappeared. It's moved somewhere. I mean, we are talking a millimetre long, so I don't really give a shit. Yeah, that's gone. Unless that's it. Is that it? No, that's not it. Did it fall off onto there somewhere? Unclear. I don't know. There we go. That's it. Basically. Very helpful hit. Yeah. Yes. Right. Now, last couple of bits needed, so we're not quite done. Looks like we might be done by past, possibly. Not that I'm trying to rush or anything. So we're going to go over this bit here is supposed to be 53. Now it's a curve, which makes it much harder to freehand paint. However, I have been making models for a long time, and for most of that time I've been using paintbrushes. So I've got this. Boom, there we go. Circle. Well, slightly oblong, but that's because the panel is slightly oblong. Let's also quickly tidy up here. Liketh so. Anything else 53? There is one other thing which is 53, but I can't necessarily paint it just yet. Let's put a rotor blade on. Put a Decepticon emblem on it. I don't have a spare Decepticon emblem. If I did, though, you know I would. Hello, taggers. Welcome to the end of my stream. Tradition does dictate that you can't be here on time. Stick that on there. This will probably, because you don't get that much control with this glue, this will probably actually cement the rotors in place. I'm not particularly fussed. I like the option of having something spinning, but if it doesn't spin, it's not the end of the world. There you go. That's the 53 done. And then the last steps will be to repair the bits. I pointed to them and then realised they were off camera. I'm going to glue the bits on that fell off. I'm going to glue this back on, and then I think we're done tidying up the black as well. So glue them back on, tidy up the black, and then that is Gazelle number 3. 3 gazelles. And there's me going off on a rant about how it's not great, and buying 3 of them. Boop. I'm also using tweezers for this, which I think is also cheating. Oh, no, it's not cheating, because I'm actually doing a worse job with tweezers than I was before I was using tweezers. A flock of gazelles. Pretty sure it's not flock. It's definitely a shoal of gazelles. A murder of gazelles. I suppose it depends what the gazelles are doing. Bonk. Tiniest, eeniest, weeniest, teeniest bit of glue. Oh, and I've glued it the wrong way around. Hang on, I'm aware it's off camera. I'm just quickly spinning it around whilst it's close to my face so I can actually see it. There we go. Done. I'm going to take one more look on the floor to see if I can find the missing part. I'm not expecting to. It is very, very small. I'm pretty sure that that's now gone forever. Oh, ow. Found some weird things under here. I'm pretty sure some of it's model related. And at some point I apparently spilt some blue paint. If I had to guess, I would say RLM 65. There's also an awful lot of liquid gravity. I should probably pass over this floor with a magnet. You know, liquid gravity is not cheap. What I'm not finding is a missing pointy bit on a gazelle. I hereby declare, sod it. That's now gone forever. You're not meant to helicopter in front of your own face. Oh, it's a herd of... a flock of gazelles, a herd of gazelles, a flock of murdered gazelles. If you live near a zoo, gazelles should be seen and not heard. You get it? You get it? No. And about a congregation of gazelles. This is much harder now that the rotor blades are on. Much, much harder. I suppose for completeness, let's paint the tail black as suggested. I'm being very careful with what I touch because, oh, just as I said that, I immediately put my finger in black paint. So I was going to say I'm being careful because I'm painting things black whilst also being around unvarnished decals. And it also thinks this... oh god, it's so fragile. Should also be black. Like that. Oh, paint is still slightly sticky, which makes it... ow, that's my knee clicking. I'm no longer sitting on my chair, I'm now just kneeling from where I was on the floor. That's my knee crunching. Oh god, my phone is going nuts. Right, that's it. I'm calling it done. I'm calling it done. We're done. We're sorted. I'm only one gazelle behind you. I could always get another gazelle, just for the pun. Yes, obviously. I'm always here for the pun. I'm gonna Make sure the brush is clean, even though I'm probably just going to chuck it in the bin. Make sure I've said everything that needs to be said, and then it is time to show it off. So let's just let it dry a little bit. I'll probably move the camera around so you can actually see it sideways as well, but that is it. Completed. Just under 3 hours streaming, although a fair bit of that was talking about other things and showing off some spoilers and all of that other good stuff. But thank you for those of you that did turn up, and to those of you who are watching this back and have managed to watch an entire 3 hour stream back as well. Also, thank you. Just positioning this for a little photo. Where did I put the paintbrush? I think it's nice to prove that you can build these kits straight out of the box. So, in fact, now I'm just going to quickly go to a break scene. I'm still here. I'm just detaching the webcam so that you can see it better without miscellaneous other things in the way. Right. How does that look? Oh, that looks terrible. There we go. That is the finished Gazelle. Note, of course, how it doesn't sit on its legs. It's resting on the box. When it rests on the box, it does. But that is it. That's what you get out of the box. Using just these paints, that polycement. There it is. And then we have its siblings there. There we go, 3 gazelles. So, I'm going to leave it like that. Thank you very much once again for everyone who dropped in. We've settled on, I've just decided 2:30 on Thursday. We'll be building the next one, which will be the Hawk. I will try and make sure there is a notification available after my video tomorrow. So I've got a video due out as usual tomorrow at what time? 2:30. I tend to do everything at 2:30 because it's just easy to remember. I'm usually around then if I wanted to thingy it, to premiere it. I almost certainly won't, but it's always nice to know. I'm just quickly checking. I don't actually know what video it is tomorrow. I set these things up in advance, you see. Oh, it is what I thought it is. It's the unboxing of that vintage KP crap. That's what it is. Yeah. So, yes, there will be a video tomorrow, just an unboxing, and then there'll be a build on Sunday. So, stay tuned for that. Otherwise, just the stream on Thursday, and then that's it. Back to 1 video a week. No more gazelles for the foreseeable, unless somebody donates me the Hella 1/50th scale one, in which case no more gazelles for a while, because I'm not building any more gazelles for a while, even if they give me one. And I'm going to leave with my music that I mentioned earlier and a little slideshow of the thumbnails that I've already worked on to tease as to what's coming next. Look at that. Cool. Yes. Yeah, you know what? That was all right. Overall, a reasonable experience. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice rest of the day. Hopefully see you again in a video somewhere, or of course on Thursday's stream.